Hello.
Hello. Am I the only one yet?
Yeah, so far we're only just starting. You're a couple of minutes early, actually.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, no worries. Yeah,
I'll just connect to my wait. Nice.
good to see a new face. Do you hear me okay?
I hear you okay, yeah. Do you hear
Mm.
me? Or
Yep, fine.
okay. I hope it's not like too loud in the background because honestly I did not expect it to work.
Mm.
So I really just tried and I'm in this cafe actually. I think I'll just put in some money on the table and then go a little bit elsewhere to get some. Yeah. I'm a little bit excited, to be
Yeah,
honest.
good. Yeah.
It's like I'm listening to Penilda Moore's YouTube channel so much, and she always mentioned you, but I actually never found the a link to you. And now I was in one of her and Todd's first talks, and then they finally gave a link to it, and now I'm here. And
Oh,
to be
great.
honest, like
Good.
You're from Australia, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yesterday I did the calculation, was like, okay, I think it's today, but I'm not quite sure, and if it's still going on or not. So no, I'm here. Okay, so
Right.
I actually did not expect that. Okay, so I'll just pay
If you
6 euros.
if you put your email in the chat for me, I'll add
Yeah,
you to it.
right.
I'll add you to a link. And
Perfect. Hmm.
yeah,
Wait.
okay.
Ah, oh my God. Okay. Oh, this is happening. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I'm really
All
so
right.
happy.
So I'm a little sad because I'm going to have to leave, but Marius is going to host the meeting tonight, and
Ah, okay.
I'll just watch the video later. But I hope to see you again. I do.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I would really love to. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Mary is also like doing the
Yes.
same thing as you. I don't know who Mary is. So okay. Okay.
Okay. Marius is a guide as well. Yeah. He
Okay.
does it very differently to me, but he's good. So yeah. Anyway,
Good.
but
Okay.
there'll be a lot more people turn up, I imagine, as time goes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Good.
All right.
So
Okay, I've started the recording, Marius, so it'll record to the cloud on this computer. So I'll just turn off my sound and my video, and if when you had enough, just shut it down or make somebody else host to shut it down at the end. No worries.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to meet you, Lenny.
yeah, thank you. It was really nice meeting you then.
I'm just going to listen in. I'm on a cycle, guys, so I'm going to listen in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Vince is doing something else, so he's not going to participate, but he'll be there. So it's just us and whoever shows up. So are you fine to talk, Leni? You're muted.
Yeah, no, I found it like I'm now at this playground, like slash square next to a church. That should be perfect now.
Great.
Can sit down.
So tell us a little bit about where you are on this apparent journey.
Okay. Apparent of it. Yeah, so I mean, a little background, like I was a film director for the longest time, and after my first feature film, I had a huge burnout, which kind of catapulted me out of my bubble of life until that point. So, I mean, then through therapy, I also started questioning most of my patterns. But then at some point, like also, I reached a point where I felt like this is still not helping, like with things like, this existential loneliness or whatever. So I kind of turned, and like also like in that time, like I experienced around a lot with psychedelics. So I kind of at some point like had this feeling of, a oneness, a non-separation. And then I don't know, started to get into this vortex of like, I discovered Angelo Di Lulu, and then also Todd Land and Pernille de Moore, and they were exactly talking about these things. So, and I also read a lot of books, and now I don't know, I got into this vortex of, really, I mean, I don't know, I'm not doing an awakening. I know that is nothing I can do, but in a sense, like nothing else really interests me anymore. I think since I, let's say, I had like small glimpses of this non-separated state. So right now, all I'm doing is trying to make all the circumstances right, like dissolving feather by feather. Because also, like, when through Pernille, I learned about, or no, actually through Angelo de Lulu, I learned about this feather work, and actually that is what's really helping so much. Also, yeah, with the things that do stress me a lot, that bring a lot of suffering. And yeah, right now I'm just working through a lot of, you know, let's say emotional bonds, and trying to really sit with a lot of emotions, sit with the moment itself, trying to not, change reality as it is right now. And I would say like right now I'm in a very hard stage because yeah, a lot is very raw, and a lot, I don't know, like I don't really take narratives, expectations that serious anymore, but still they, especially after waking up very in the morning, they really cause still a lot of, raw sensations, really raw feelings of, and I know there's a lot of, shame underneath that I say like, okay, I'm not trying to change it, but I'm sitting with it, and it's still sometimes really tough. But I do feel like I am somewhere on the way where I actually understand more and more what it's actually about, which is just, really being, not thinking about the things, just really pure experiencing. And that's what I'm trying to do as much as possible. And now I have a month of not working or not having to do anything, and now I'm really just feel like I just want to sit with it. That's also at this stage the one thing that doesn't help me a little bit, because otherwise if I connect those feelings to narratives, then it's really hurtful. So right now just sitting in a very thoughtless space is the one thing where I can really exist somehow.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. So have you explored the concept of no self?
Let's say, I mean, let's say I would say I understand it conceptually a lot, but I mean, I just have now little glimpses where also like direct experience backs it up. So for example, today when I woke up and I was like in this space of, just, listening to sound, like just being in the sensations of my body and everything, I noticed then there was one judgment of one thing, and that's when I had like this first like tiny little realization where I was like, ah, okay, now I see like the thought about the thing actually takes me out of, you know, this this non-separated state, because up to that there was just the sensation. Now there's a separating thought about the sensation. So that was actually kind of cool today. But
Mm.
I would say I'm still more of this in this place where I understand it from the concept, but couldn't really back it up with real experience or real aha moments. And that's kind of really, I think, the shitty thing, because then it's also like filled with concepts and expectations again. That's where I want to get away from. And so
Yeah.
I feel like maybe sometimes it's even bad if I don't listen to many YouTube videos that talk about non-duality, because these fill up expectations again. And so right now, I really just try to really just sit in silence more in the sensation space.
Mm. So do you have any expectations of what it means to see through the illusion of self? What how that would
hmm
be experienced?
I guess there is still this expectations of like this big contentment that you would have, and in a sense of like not maybe not for an forever ever bliss state, but like at least like this losing of this feeling of suffering. Because I have this expectation probably that like feelings like I'm not good enough, or I don't know, I'm not where I should be in life, would just lose their meaning, because I would feel like so part of everything, and that no narrative is important anymore. Or they
Mm.
would just feel like, other sense they would not have much more meaning than, let's say, a bird chirping somewhere. So I would feel probably like lighter and freer. And right now I sometimes feel a lot of heaviness in my chest. So my expectation would be that this would somehow lose its meaning. It would be maybe there, but would not be so, yeah, attached to me. I don't know. And I think, yeah, this is probably also already like an expectation that I should get lost, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, it's a common expectation. I had the same one. I think most do. So the thing about this ending suffering, it's not
Mhm.
really like that. So you could say that there is still suffering, but there is no longer anyone who needs that be different.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So it's the resistance against what is happening, you could say.
Yeah.
And you know, on the way there, it could be helpful to, like like you said initially, you're kind of trying to sit with your emotions and just be with them rather than kind of attaching a meaning to what you're
Mhm.
feeling, if I understood you correctly. And that is I think that is a good um, way to change your relationships to sensations,
Mhm.
but it's not going to um, make them go away. So there will still be intense sensations. But the relationship to them will change. So it's okay to be in pain, so to speak, even though you experience pain, it's okay. It's seen that that is as big a part of life as any other thing. How does that land with you?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's also not new to me, because again, like I hear one YouTube video after the other where this is also said in that way. So yeah, I think and I also get the concept. I just sometimes wonder then how an awakening still yeah make such a big difference then. Or no, what's the better way to say it? I feel, yeah, no, I think I still understand it now here conceptually, and I also understand conceptually why this would change it. But in a sense, when I'm in intense pain, there's still like this like voice inside of me and says like, why then are you doing all this? Then if it's not bigger, yeah. So I guess that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, that is.
So like the feelings did not change anything too much, so that I say like, okay, then it's worth it. I guess. So
Yeah,
the thought is like it should actually change everything, but then it did not change everything, or it did not make it lighter, and so I still feel okay. All I get now is just like really raw sensation of real intense pain. Yeah.
so maybe I can offer you a story that will kind of change your perspective a little bit, maybe. And this is just a story. This is not true. But if you can kind of imagine that you have different, let's say tanks, like water tanks, almost. You have different tanks for every emotion that you have ever repressed since you were young, and all of that is stored from a whole lifetime of not wanting to feel. And every time something triggers an emotion, there's this faucet that gets turned on, and some of that emotion comes out. But because we have this relationship with intense emotions that we don't want to feel them, we kind of distract ourselves, meaning we kind of turn off the faucet as soon as we can. We don't want to face what is felt. So instead of turning off the faucet, imagine that, okay, I'm gonna sit with the faucet open. I'm gonna try to empty all these repressed stuff, and make some more space in there. And so you can kind of, with that perspective, you can kind of have this other relationship with everything that wants to come up now that now that the filters that used to be able to repress all of this stuff is starting to dissolve. Because things will come up, and that's why it feels probably more intense now than maybe it will later, because the filters is starting to crumble.
Yeah, and in a sense, I do have a lot of trust in that too. It's just it kind of wears down. It wears me a little bit down because especially like in the mornings, and you have this feeling of like, okay, so you know, I'm sitting with that. I'll get used to it. Like I get used to like accepting everything now more as it is, and you know, and not trying to make things different. So it's just, even though I should not expect, you know, it to get better, because I think that is the crucial thing. Like if I do this thing to make it go away, then I'm still not in accepting. Still
Mm.
overlaying over this, in a sense, there is this hope that over a period of time things will get lighter. Because for me, up to now, every day in the morning feels like a battlefield.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a sense, I do have this hope that at some point it gets easier. And I don't know, there is now like a little bit of an impatience coming in, because like I'm doing this now since a few months even. I mean, it's just now, like that for the last couple of like 1 month that I'm really going in like hard, and up to then there was still a little bit of distraction always, and now I'm not doing it. But like right now, it doesn't feel like a lot is changing, and I just try to make that okay in my head, and saying like trust it, don't make a story
Yeah.
out of this. But sometimes that's hard, especially when it's like really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can totally relate to everything you said. Um,
Yeah.
so some good news is that everything that you're experiencing, everything that you think you shouldn't be doing, it's totally fine. So there's no shouldn't be doing anything, and there's no should be doing anything. What is happening
Okay.
in your current experience, if that is confusion, if that is distraction, if that is whatever is happening, then that is what is happening. That it's okay. That is, even though you kind
Mm-hmm.
of um, I understand that we have these frameworks that we try to get somewhere with, and we have these frameworks to kind of understand what is happening, and that's totally fine. But what we have to be careful about, or what I invite you to be careful about, is to turn that into right or wrong behavior. Because
That is a very important.
yes,
Mm. Yeah.
because you're not
Okay.
doing any
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. No,
Yeah,
actually, very good that you said that as a reminder, because I think if anything, this is what I really like. Let's say my parent is doing a lot, like trying so hard to go that path so that it actually creates a story that I'm going it. And if there's one thing that I try to also consider now, is that there is no doer.
yeah, yeah. And the thing
Yeah.
about non-doership is there can be some expectations tied to that as well. Um,
Hmm.
at least I'll speak for my experience. I had this expectation that when I dropped the doer, so to speak, that it would somehow feel like I'm not doing. Um, but I still feel like I'm doing this, but I understand through looking and investigating at everything that is being done, looking closely at the thoughts relating to the action, you can kind of over time again and again see that, okay, I'm actually not responsible for what's happening. Um, and for me, the gold in that is to kind of not feel like I'm not doing, but it's more that understanding that I was never responsible for anything that I did or didn't do. So I don't have to
Hmm.
carry this whole load of guilt or shame for something that I didn't live up to, or for something that I did to others,
Hmm.
because that was just
Hmm.
a product of my current conditioning in that moment.
Hmm.
And the same thing is for others, right? So if you have, I carried a lot of blame in my life because of how I was brought up and things like this. So I was blaming a lot of people in my life. But when you turn that same insight, the non-doership, and look at other people, you understand that they also weren't responsible. And so you don't have to carry all this stuff. You don't have to carry all the stories. Yeah, the stories can come up, but they don't feel as heavy anymore.
Hmm.
Or if they do feel heavy, perhaps a
And
reminder
there's
of this conversation reminds you, oh, right, they're not responsible. And that kind of starts slowly and steadily decondition the heaviness of that belief.
yeah. And I guess, I mean, I am at that point, yeah, still, I don't know, there's still a little bit of an impatience because I thought like, ah, okay, if I understood that, and for example, with my father, I mean, did have this understanding. There's a lot of wrongdoings, but I know like that's the way he was conditioned, but there's still a lot of anger, let's say.
Mm.
And I, they had this expectation that if I would just understand, you know, he was just conditioned, then this anger would disappear, but it's still stored. And there's a lot, and it's a little bit unexpected that, you
Yeah,
know, it comes day and day again, and I have to sit with it day and day again, even though I already know so that he's not to blame either. So I don't know.
yeah. But is it okay that you're angry?
Yeah, I think, and also anger is the easiest one to sit with. I think. I think um, stronger, like the one that really gets me is more. Uh, I would say something like loneliness, and that is something I cannot really classify with all the stuff that I have. Also, like I did not find that much also online or in non-dual books because they all
Mm.
come down to fear, anger, shame, and guilt. And I don't even know because like I mean I very often I sit with loneliness and I wonder is this like shame of, you know, being now lonely, or is it fear of forever being lonely? I don't know. Like I sometimes try to like get to the deeper root of it. Something that, yeah. And right now I just feel like this is also over conceptualizing. Just sit with it and see what changes, or like what does it do? How does it feel?
Mm.
Um, and just let it be okay that you feel lonely and a little bit lost. But these are
So
like so vague somehow.
yeah, so I was gonna ask
And
you what is like, how does loneliness feel? Why the label loneliness?
um because this discomfort that I feel like a very big contraction in my chest that sometimes even feels like it's burning also over then sometimes the skin and yeah, like, or like it's like really heavy radiation. If it comes up when I have like short flashes of, you know, thoughts where I'm being held by somebody, or like memories of past relationships where, you know, somebody holds me. There's like sometimes this story coming up, like how nice it has been, you know, if you come home in the night and somebody asks you how your day was. So that's how I kind of locate it. Yeah. Or it comes, you know, when I have a whole Sunday ahead of me and not really a plan, and yeah, short flashes come, how my partner would have made a coffee for me. So I think that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was, as I heard it, please correct me if I'm wrong, but that was two different like entry points. So from one, the last
Hmm.
one, it was more of a thought triggered a sensation that you labeled
Hmm.
loneliness, and the first one was more a sensation that was later um,
Yeah, I
labeled
think no,
loneliness.
it's both in a thought. I mean, one is more like, let's say, a conception, like a an audio thought, like a word thought, and the other one would more be like a visual thought of, or like or let's say like a slight body memory of, somebody caressing you, I think. Yeah,
Mm,
that's a mixture of visual and a little bit sensational memory. Okay. Yeah, but with the other one, yeah, right. The one is more of a conceptual, okay, like this is my day. So
mm.
in this day, normally I would have done that, and now this is not there. So, and then I connect it to this feeling that comes up, and so that's what makes it loneliness, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, because the first one, to me, I understand how it can be labeled as loneliness, but could it also be labeled or described as a longing for comfort or a longing for companionship? Not loneliness, like, but the opposite of that.
So, yeah, yeah, sure, obviously, yeah.
Mm,
And I mean, I also try to, track down like the narratives also. And I mean, probably also there's even also layers underneath that of, somebody who thinks you are very special. So, which would then also lead to like this feeling like I'm not good enough without that. So, like, I really just try to discover also like, uncomfortable layers of shame of not having this, or, you know, like, yeah, I really, try to explore every emotion that is lying underneath and sit with that, but still it comes up regularly, and I feel like I probably have a huge blind spot here, and that is also like why I'm reaching out, to one-on-one sessions, because this one like seems kind of not changing,
mm.
and I don't know if it's just like takes a long time for having a better relationship with it, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because you're kind of reaching for a a solution to it, and so
Yeah,
by doing that, you're kind
yeah,
of telling yourself that what's happening right now isn't like
isn't
I'm
okay.
rejecting reality, basically.
Yeah. And I guess probably that's also where it's just like, again, it's sometimes so uncomfortable that I just don't know how to really be okay and not just have that as a belief. Yeah, this should be okay now because all the non-dual coaches say so. So it feels a little bit sometimes like lying to myself.
Yeah,
Because in that moment, it really feels uncomfortable.
yeah, yeah, I get that. Yeah, this isn't this isn't about feeling good. And
Mm.
I hate to be the one to say that, but it's really
No,
it's more
I
about
know.
mm, believing that it could be different.
Yeah.
And you said something about the aloneness, and I mean, where does it come from? Um, I just now I'm projecting my own story onto to this. So, I remember feeling a lot of loneliness because I couldn't talk to anyone about what I was going through because nobody could understand what I was going through. Is that something, or is it
No,
just
no,
a
no, that's
longing
no.
for companionship?
I think it's really just that because I do have my best friend is also a lot in it, and he's even like a little bit ahead of me. So I actually do have also good friends. I mean, I do think it's really just companionship, and I also, in a sense, I also tracked it also a little bit down to kind of like, because in my story there's a lot of achievement, so there's also a layer of, again, shame of not having achieved something here, like with a perfect partner and with this perfect life, blah blah blah. So again, I'm sitting with this a lot now. And I mean, I do feel small, let's say, like easing with it. But again, it's, let's say, slower than hope that this is okay to be, to be not achieving a perfect relationship. But I think it's really just more that than, real loneliness on a non-dual path, because I do have a lot of people actually that at least understand, and at least one good friend who goes that same path with me.
Yeah. But it sounds like you recognize that all of that, achieving or having a perfect relationship or any relationship, all of that is just the mind constructing a story to kind of
Mm.
not feel what you're currently experiencing.
Yeah, and to be honest, like I also don't really buy into those stories anymore. I really, I think I do really see through a lot of narratives. The only thing that is basically, yeah, when we're talking about expectations, I really just thought, and with that, things would get lighter. It's just that I just notice more that they are constantly coming now, and I do sometimes still attach, and it feels like a lot of work to then every time say like, I know, this is the story. This is the story that and that is connected to this sensation, blah blah blah. And then especially again, like after waking up, it feels like, I'm meant I'm loading the system, and then like this like one checkbox after the other of old values and stories, and they all come up, and it really is a lot of work every day. Just like, this is the pen, this is the story, this is just. So I just, let's say the expectation was just that it would go more automatic and easier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, and I'm happy to, um, or it's very normal to need a reminder of this. So I will keep reminding you, but you're not doing any of this. So I understand that it feels like work because there's a thought or a belief there that you need to catch whatever is going on. You need to kind of decipher or deconstruct whatever is going on, but really you don't need to, because now that you are aware of this, you've had an initial awakening. This will show you whatever you need to see. There is no effort in it. Something will happen, an insight will come up or not, something else will happen. This is automatic. So this load of needing to do this, to effort this right now is just putting extra tension on what you're going through.
That actually really helps. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. That
Yeah,
actually
and
really
just
helps.
uh, one of the one thing that I found very important is just to start to kind of trust myself over anyone else, meaning trust my experience, trust whatever is coming up, and not letting the mind convince the experience of needing to understand through other channels, because you will get what you need to get when you get it. Yeah. The only thing anybody else can do is be a mirror for what is relevant for you now. Nobody can give you anything.
What-
Yeah.
don't know really what to say to that anyway. I mean, rather than just really taking that in.
Yeah, no need for response. And I think this is your first meeting, so I will try to repeat what Vince usually says, and that is, this is very informal. So just talk when you feel like it. If there's something that somebody else says and you want to chime in, feel free to do that. There's no raising hands or anything. And just come when you want and leave when you want.
Okay. Because like I really had no idea about the structure of it all, and I kind of felt like, okay, am I taking up like now a lot of space? I don't know. There's other people here, so if
Yeah, I
somebody
think
else.
we all felt that at some point, but no, it's just,
Okay.
it's fine. Take up all the space you want.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. But I mean, if it's okay, I would really just also love to, you know, listen to and just have a look at how this normally goes. And
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's
If
fine.
somebody else has a racing question, 'cause right now we would have like thousands and no at the same time, no, not one at the same time. It's like it could go on forever or not.
Yeah, it's fine. You just sit back if you don't want to engage and chime in if you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Leni.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Marius. Thank you. So nobody else has a question? Or is it really just you sit there and wait for a question to come?
Yeah, so I'll probably sit here for a little while and just be silent if nobody asks, and then I'll probably ask if
Okay.
somebody directly. So if you have anything more, just shoot.
Okay, because I've seen something like this with 13 participants, so that's also a thing that people just sit here in silence together, or
Yeah.
that's a thing? Okay. Oh, okay. Then maybe I'll think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
I was actually not expecting to have like so much space for this. Okay. Good. Then I'll think about it really quick.
I don't have a question, but I'll share what's going on for me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm really feeling this push and pull with the ego. And I'm really noticing the difference between that like the body yes and the body no that Pernilla would say. And I've never been aware of that before. And I'm like hypersensitive to like just ego. Like for me, now I can really tell the difference between when it's the ego trying to speak, who's looking for to be seen or looking to be right or looking to be noticed. It's like this There's a real rushing, a necessity, a need to say it, and I need to say it now. And so I'm really doing this dance between the learning when it's the ego that's speaking, the remnants of the ego. And then I'm also noticing, I heard a story over the last few weeks. I watched different, teachers, and they're talking about how you need to go through all the shadow work. And I heard my story around, well, I've done all the shadow work and I've done this and I've done that. So it was just another identity, so I'm the one who's done that, and why am I here? So I guess I just share, I'm just doing that dance of noticing the ego, and then being okay with it. That's just the ego showing up, and let it be there. And yeah, that's all I just thought I'd share.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've had brings up something here. So I shared in the last meeting that I've visited the void again, and I realized that there's been a tendency to try to land in what is true. Is it the emptiness or is it the fullness? Without really understanding that's what I was, or the mind was doing, is kind of grasping onto some kind of certain ground. Whereas now I kind of, the perspective here now is that it's neither or you could say both, but none of that would be true. So there is no way this will finally be. It's no finally anything. It's this, whatever this is, forever.
There's also there's just this dance of, I'm coming from a space where you work with people who are just trying to figure things out, or trauma, or whatever it is that they're at life, and yeah, so I'm sort of caught in this space of, because I watch you guys here, and it's not that you bypass stuff, but you got to focus, and the focus is, no, there is no self. So we're not going to deal with any of the shit, the self.
Yeah.
There's a focus through that, and there's sort of this dance on dealing with client work. I guess I don't know how to say it. It's just there's a figuring out going on around meeting people where they're at, and just the hearing it, and it's just understanding that it's just concepts and it's beliefs, and you can see that, and it's sometimes it's feel a little bit of a challenge to work with that rather than just be focusing on the main belief.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm doing a little bit of a finding that it's, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm
No, I
just
get it. I think at least,
dancing with that at the minute.
yeah, I've had well, you remind me of a process that I've also had, and it's like so many times where I've just felt like we're all full of shit, and I didn't want to talk at all, like, because you can't really, as soon as you talk about something, there's a viewpoint, right? well, it's very difficult not to it's difficult to express something from nowhere. So if you want to kind of share something, it's just your personal interpretation of whatever you want to express. Is not true, right? So there has been this conflict here a lot of the times where I've had this feeling of just I don't want to talk because it's all bullshit.
Mm.
Hell yeah. Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah, but how do you solve this? Because I also feel like every time, I am among people, I cannot really totally be in the moment because I feel like I'm just getting like transported to their narratives, and they're also creating then narratives in my mind rather than like really just be in the moment. So I feel like, I don't know, I have to even seclude myself from people if I want to dive deeper into this. And I don't know, is that something that you at some point have to do if you really, I don't know, want to get on with that process or like get it somewhere? I don't know.
There's no right answer to that. So if you feel you need to do that, you will do that. And I definitely had a long period of needing alone time and time in silence.
Mhm.
But I also recognize that, when I say it's all bullshit, that also is a view.
Mhm.
So it's not including everything when I say that.
Mhm.
And that's the kind of recent
Mhm.
recognition that I have, is that, the no bullshit view, no, the everything is bullshit viewpoint was just what was experienced at that moment or those moments. And that's
Mhm.
also it. So the mind
I mean,
tries
I
to
wouldn't call
make something out of it. It tries to grasp onto
Mhm.
and make something out of what you're experiencing.
make a judgment. Mm, yeah, for me, it's more, it raises this question, can I like really be present in a situation that is like, if, when you're talking and talking is so based on made up narratives that are not in the here and now. So that's somehow like because like in concept, I should be able to be present in any situation. So why do I make like this differentiation with that? Or would I have to stop listening to what the others say and like just, be present with the emotion that I have sitting next to them and talking, or just like the sensations that are there? I don't know. This is something I don't really understand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
I think so. Yeah, go ahead, Tyler. I was actually thinking about Tyler on this one.
do you see how you're doing it now? Like now you're talking and asking about how you can talk to people and not get sucked into the narrative. But you're asking that from a place where you're buying into the narrative, where you've joined a Zoom call with Marius and people who might be experienced in this kind of thing, and you have a problem and they might be able to tell you something that can help you solve it. And you're already trying to solve a problem from another narrative. And the other problem doesn't exist outside of the narrative that you're buying into and speaking from now.
think I try like to go places like you're on the train right now, so it's probably different. Mm. I'm sorry that I think like that did not really. Sorry, I don't really know what you tried to tell me with that. I'm really trying, but could you maybe try it again?
So you're giving an example of a problem, which is getting sucked into a narrative when you're talking to other people. But you're now talking to us, sucked into the narrative from that perspective that you've joined the Zoom call to talk to people about this other problem. But this other problem is exactly what's happening now. But you call it a problem.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, not right or wrong, but let's say for me, there's not really an indicator of am I not really present or not, I would say. So, and that's, I think, sometimes like the confusing thing on this process. Like, some people would even say like, yeah, that's something like an awakening because you understand, let's say, the concept. But somehow, like for me, it doesn't really make a big difference how I'm feeling. So,
Right. So now you're trying to figure out whether or not you're present, whether or not you're awake, and you have expectations about what those mean. Yeah. And there's no right answer to that can be the correct answer so that you've solved the problem. Because the problem is made up already by you. And there's no difference. There's no being present and not being present. It's just that you're trying to figure out which one you are because you're imagining that they're different things. And you're imagining that you can be awake or you cannot be awake. And that those things should feel different. So you're trying to define where you are in that paradigm. But those two different things are already just imagined.
let me see that. But thank you so much. Really, thank you a lot.
I kind of want to ask you, Leni, what does it mean to be present?
I would say being present for me would be just not like um having. I mean, I would just be like in my sensations and not having like narratives around what I'm experiencing, but it would just. And I mean, maybe they're completely wrong. But I would not filter through this is this and this is that. And let's say like if I'm sitting and I'm just listening and really getting such a relaxed state that I'm not putting like a bird label on a bird, and then especially like, if I close my eyes, then I feel like I'm more of the space, the person who has ears and hears that, but it's really just more like the space, and in that space there is something happening. Then I sometimes have this feeling of there's not really much labeling here. That feels very easy and nice. But then if I'm sitting here, also like with you guys, like I am Leni now, that is talking about her problems, and it's for me it feels like impossible to not have this label or that label, this label here. Like especially even if I open my eyes, there's like labels everywhere. And I don't know. And I mean, maybe, yeah, there's thousands of expectations on what awakening is or not, but in a sense, it is also though what is driving me forward on this way, like seeing how much can I get away from, the current state of mind that still causes a lot of suffering, because like I feel like I'm just one person going to other people with the problem that they, I don't know, having like so many intense emotions. So I think, yeah, being present would be just experiencing through my five sense gates without labeling. And I think it's really hard if you are in a surrounding that puts labels on it because of the situation.
Yeah, so if I understand you correctly, you defined being present as your attention resting in your senses.
Yeah, right now, yes. And I think, yeah, and without creating a story around the sensation of those senses. I mean, maybe it's totally wrong expectations too, but let's say that's how I imagined it, or that might be my wrong expectation.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had the fantasy that awakening means constantly being constantly that attention constantly is out of the mind and in some kind of open spaciousness. But that isn't the case. And as long as you have that expectation, you're kind of chasing a carrot that you'll never catch. And by doing so, creating suffering the whole way. Because you're still believing that you're not getting what you want.
Okay, but actually that really does help a lot, because see, I mean, so many, when it comes to that, they always say like, yeah, you cannot really talk about it, you have to experience it yourself. So yeah, there's a lot of expectations that have come up. So yeah, I mean, it really does put a little bit of a pressure off if you say that's not how it always feels, because yeah, I felt like, how would I even remain that state all the time? So thanks for letting me know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
But why does
expectations is
that?
a huge thing. Yeah, sorry, Tyler.
No worries. Why does that take pressure off you? Is it because you're trying to be awake? So once
Yeah,
Marius tells you
I
that,
mean,
you have less pressure.
I know, and it's probably a very wrong pursuit. I know. On the other hand, there's so much curiosity for what being awake would really mean, that there's like this huge drive that I cannot, yeah, in a way, approach it, try to do it, try to make it happen. And this does create some pressure, especially because I know, actually, I mean, from what I heard, you cannot even do that. So, and then there's like, let's say, then also probably like the second layer of pressure on top of that. And then this other thing that I even am aware of both these pressures that I put on. And I don't know. So yeah, I think this is all. I mean, I am aware of that process too. Somehow it even amuses me a little bit. But there, yeah, it is definitely happening. And like if I'm in a calm and relaxed state like this, I can even say like, oh, it's funny. But sometimes it's really just like, I feel shitty, and I would really want to know, and I don't. That's the spectrum in which I am right now.
Are you starting to see that trying is an effort is counterproductive?
I very much do, and so I mean, and let's say like I'm now also like a little bit different now that I have the possibility of asking all the questions than if I would just be like if I'm sitting at home for hours, I would just say like, okay, now I'm just sitting with the moment, just try to really feel the moment and I'm not really approaching anything because I also have learned I can't. Then there's less pressure, but let's say like yeah, a talk like this where they're like, you can, you actually have the time, you can actually ask every stupid question. I can also like do it. But in a sense, yeah, I know the
You
trying is what is in the way because like that is where I want to go from somewhere where actually everything already is. I, the concept I get, it's just like somehow and I don't feel it that much. I think that is where the pressure comes. That it doesn't feel other or different than everything can be.
you have a lot of thoughts. It really feels like you're trying to solve something, like you're trying to get something, but you're only doing that because you're imagining that there's something to get.
I think also, Lenny, how it was explained to me before, which really helped, was to see the thoughts as another sense. So that awareness, yeah, you're having your five senses arise in awareness, but the thoughts are also arising in as awareness. So that trying and the confusion is just another thought that you're aware of. So being present and being aware of the thoughts is also being in presence. The thoughts are another sense arising. That really helped me to get my head around it.
That feels like putting a band-aid on a wound again. That just feels like another way of trying to understand things. Like you define thoughts as just another sense. So even if there are thoughts and there's trying, it doesn't matter because I'm still present. I'm still awake. It doesn't like I can see how that's helpful in making someone feel better, but it doesn't cut to the root that 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 all the problems are imagined and everything you're trying to solve is imagined and you're trying to get something that there's nothing to get. You can only imagine that there's something to get and try to get it. And
So
then
how
and
would you
then
approach it
something
then?
no, but there's nothing to approach. There's nothing that I have that you don't have.
Yeah, no, I
It's more
get it,
that
but I would
no,
just
but you
then,
say you get
you
it,
know,
but there's nothing to get. I'm not trying to offer you a perspective to understand, and then once you understand, you get it. That
Mhm.
there isn't anything like that here. You're trying to fit it in a box, but there's nothing there. There's nothing I'm trying to tell you.
I I think I get that. It's just like I have now this that I mean there is this curiosity and searching. So
Yep, they're searching.
I mean
Yeah.
if I just say yeah, and the searching, I don't know, I mean I can just let go of it, but then I don't know. Um
You can't
I
let go
think
of
I would
it.
just probably okay. Yeah.
Because there's either searching or there isn't searching, and that's That's the only difference between someone who is trying to believe that they're awake and trying to get something, and the other alternative is there nothing at all.
Mm. Yeah, I also try to let that sink in. Just yeah. Also don't really know what then to do. I mean, I know it's no doing. I mean, I can also just sit down and do nothing. But um,
But you
still,
don't
there
have
is
to
a
sit
longing.
down and do
Yeah.
nothing. It doesn't mean that if you sit down and do nothing, you're awake. It's
No, no,
not the
no. I
case
mean,
that if
and I did not mean that in a meditation thing. Like I can just say like, okay, I'm not approaching anything anymore, and I tell myself this is everything is as it should be, but it just awfully feels like a belief now that I'm trying to push now into me
yes,
because yeah.
yes, I'm
But
not
right now,
telling you
just
that everything is as it should be. You're getting it. Everything that you're trying to define what I'm saying as just feels like another belief, right?
Mhm.
So it all doesn't add up.
Mhm. Yeah. No, really. But I guess that's where I want to be, right?
No, no,
I'm
it
not
doesn't
sure.
have. You can do whatever you want. There's nowhere you should want to be.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, then I'm trying. Then I'm being with that now.
Okay, I don't know what that would look
Alright.
like, but
Hmm? Sorry, I
yeah,
didn't hear that.
sure.
What?
I don't know. Don't put too much thought into what I said. It's all rubbish.
Yeah. I say my mind tries to compute, not just try to observe what it's doing now from the outside and what it tries to do. That's pretty much all that I do now. Because otherwise, I don't know. I don't know what else to do with it.
Yeah, you don't know what else to do.
What if there is nothing to
But
know,
but
nothing to understand?
That is what I believe, but it's just I let's say the expectation was that I would feel a little bit different. That I wouldn't feel like driven, and there still feels like a drive or a curiosity.
And that's not wrong. That is what's happening.
Excuse me?
And I'm just saying that is not wrong, that drive. It's just what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that that shouldn't happen or that should happen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing to understand about why that is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's where I'm now.
You got you really got thrown into the deep end today, Leni. We're usually not this cutthroat.
All good. That is actually, why I came here. Really. And I, in a sense, even enjoyed this discomfort that came up with it. So yeah. No, I'm really just thankful for both of you. No, for all the three of you, I'm sorry. I just don't see like a silent Marius, I don't know her name. Who was talking before. Yeah.
Scott, what's going on for you, man?
The last, I really don't want to go into the story, but I feel like I need to kind of get, anyway, like the last time we talked, you, no, wait a minute. The last time we talked, I had kind of lost interest in consuming spiritual material. And I was using the bot for inquiry instead. I was like really into it. It just seemed like there was so much useful stuff coming up from it. And we, at the last meeting, you know, I don't know exactly what happened, but I had a feeling like my head stopped or whatever, but so I went back to look at it to see what was it, what actually happened there. And I saw something just grabbing one thing after another. And I saw you gently try to show me that I was still doing it, And I didn't see it at the time until I went back and looked at it. And as soon as I saw that, I just like, I don't know, I lost interest in inquiry too. And so then no inquiry, no consumption of spiritual material left me with a lot of I guess it's time. I'll say time. A lot of time. And so I just kind of sat there and all of a sudden, like my body, not all of a sudden, well, I don't know, my body, this body, like, or something just electric heat shocks like all through my body, like, and it's always there. I never realized it's always there. And so I started like just seeing if I could stand it, because it just seems so intense. I just and I just started like, for a week I'll just break down crying. 2 seconds later, I'm fine. Break down crying. 2 seconds later, I'm fine. And actually, I have used AI now a little bit to help me through some of these uh, emotional breakdowns or whatever they are. I don't know what they are because I'm not really sure what they are, but it kind of like I just like realized that when seeking does not like seeking is itself a block. And once I realized that, like, there's no, I can't go that way, right? And then so as I'd had no distractions, well, actually, well, there was another before. I almost can't remember how it all happened. I it because there's oh yeah, that's what it was. Once the spiritual, I had no more like inquiry to do, no more spiritual stuff. I started to, I didn't start to, it just automatically started watching more political pro-democracy stuff, and just like it just ramped up more and more intense, I guess trying to divert. And finally that just got too much for me, and I, I guess that just went away. And um so right now, like I am talking to the bot a little bit, trying to help me through some of these things, and I'm just watching. Like I notice that, like, what for a couple days when I got up and just did my routine, it wasn't as intense in the morning. I could feel it a little bit here and there, but it now, like this morning, it was like it's almost always there, but I can feel how when my girlfriend's there and I talk to her a little bit, it subsides. And or if I'm doing my mindless morning routine, the dishes or whatever, it's subdued a little bit. And I can also feel like a spot where it feels like suppression itself. Like, and at one point I was like, it seemed like if I put my attention on the suppression part, I could attenuate the electric shock feeling. And then, like, if I just put my attention on the electric shock feeling, it just ramped up like really intensely. So what uh I'm not really doing anything. I don't know. I came to this meeting, but um um I'm just watching the feeling. Like as I go through my stuff, I go to the gym, I drive or whatever, I just watch how I react, or not how I react, but how this sensation changes, and that's it.
Do you have to watch?
I don't know. I don't know. Part of me thinks, I don't know. I welcome it in some way, certain way. I welcome it. I see it's different. I see that, like, oh yeah, there's no way, there's nowhere to go. There's no way to. Last night, I was in bed with a girlfriend, and we were just. I thought, well, I'll distract a little bit and try to alleviate because it feels intense. And so I purposely took up my phone and started working on something to try to just distract. And within probably 5 or 10 minutes, I was so locked in on it that and I had this feeling of like doership and I was like, oh my God. Like it only took a couple minutes to get to that state. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, there's nowhere to go, like at all. It just really isn't. I don't know what to do. Well, there's nothing to do either. But anyway, I'm okay. I just keep breaking down crying, stopping, etc. I tried to stop long before this and I couldn't. Like it was just I didn't know how. Felt like if I dropped everything, I didn't have that. I didn't feel it. Like I was still distracting somehow. There was distraction or something. I wasn't feeling it. This is totally like I guess I've been hiding from this my entire life. When they say that, like, almost everything is just a diversion from the icky feeling, like, I'm like, what? I guess they're talking about the emotion body, like this feeling I get with emotions, but it didn't seem like something to run from really. And this is, yeah, I've been running from this forever.
The idea of there not being anything to do can be very revealing.
You had nothing to grab onto. I guess it was so habitual I didn't see it happening.
Same with, time, every share something from something I experienced lately is I found myself working on this project with an outcome or a hoped outcome. And I, as soon as there is a fixation on something that is not now, then there is somebody that is hoping for something that's not now, that's looking forward. So we're basically creating that sense of self when we think we're going somewhere. Any sense of progression. That is just a story. We're not going anywhere. And, if something comes up in the experience when I say that, question, well, look at that. Is it okay that there is no progression?
It has to be. There's no options. There just isn't. Nothing works. The distractions just stop working, so I just stopped trying them.
Who is distracting? There's nobody distracting.
Distraction was happening a lot.
But distracting from what?
I think it's this sensation of that fiery hot electric sensation.
Yeah, but in one way, that is a meaning you're giving what is happening, right? So you're doing something, and then you're giving that, you're kind of judging what you're doing, and you're saying that that is a distraction. And then
What
you
is
have this
it?
idea.
I don't get it. What
No,
distraction?
whatever you're doing, whatever you meant when you said you're distracting,
Oh,
whatever that can be. So distraction, or I'm not going to call it that. Whatever you're doing that you refer to when you're distracting, that is just what's happening. And the mind is telling you that that is what you're doing now is distracting. You're judging what is happening, and then you're giving a meaning to that, that you're distracting from this heavy feeling. And that may or may not be the case, but I just want to highlight that that is also a story, because if you're just scrolling and whatever you're doing, that is what you're doing. Doesn't mean anything. Or to say it differently, if the body needs to feel that electric sensation, then that will happen. So the moments you have felt it, it's been the moments where the body had need to feel it. There's no doing in that. It's just what happened.
there's I don't know. Just seems like I need to just take the ride. I don't know.
Yeah. And nothing is wrong. Nothing is right. Anything that you would say was right about it or wrong about it would just be a constructed story on top of what is actually happening.
Yeah, those thoughts come up. It's good. It's bad. But they just float away because every time I come to a conclusion, it just there's a feeling associated with that just drops. So it's like that's another dead end. That's just another wall.
So here's another story. The thing that we fear most is how empty life is. So we try to grasp onto everything, give it some kind of interpretation, some kind of meaning. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's usually something that feels really heavy to recognize and fully accept. There's a lot of existential fear that can come up. Doesn't have to, but did for me. A lot of feeling of meaninglessness. but that is also not it. It's easy for the mind to kind of, when you touch on the emptiness, then you're like, oh, it's everything is just meaningless. I'm just gonna give up or whatever, how you're going to say that. But that is also not it, because it is nothing. It's not one thing. It is exactly everything. All experience, the good, the bad, the confusion, the clarity, the peace, the anger, the sadness. The experience in every moment is what is. But the mind wants to land somewhere. It wants certainty.
Just the thoughts that arise are really, I just feel like I'm stuck right in here, and it just feels very unpleasant, and somehow that label just gets kind of sticky.
Yeah. Can you let it be that way?
Yeah. I do have a question. Maybe, I hope I'm not going into thought, but I have been using the bot when I'm having emotional upwellings. I'll ask it some questions, and I think I'm seeing that there's a subtle form of seeking in it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the next step. I don't know.
Well, there is a movement to know, to understand what is happening, to give meaning to what you're feeling. And again, that is not wrong, but it is the mind trying to grasp onto something to know.
When it first hit me in the face, I was scared shitless. I was just like, the thoughts come up like, is this how it's going to be until the heart stops beating? And then, bringing time in. It's just a thought.
Well, there is nothing that is permanent.
Yeah. I mean, I know that. It's just those thoughts still come up, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I get
That's
it.
what got me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say I get it, and I can relate. I've been through that as well. grasping for answers and try to figure it all out. It's comforting. There's nothing wrong with needing comfort. There's nothing wrong with anything that happens. We're not going anywhere. We're just experiencing.
Yeah, I felt like I needed support in the beginning. I guess I still do a little, but yes, it's all good. It's just amazing. Some thoughts are, oh, I wish it would be worse so that it breaks me down. And then other thoughts are like, oh no, I don't want it to be that way because it's uncomfortable. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, just to share this, so like maybe perhaps I'm breaking some image of some, that somebody has of this and of how I experience this. But I've had like a few weeks in massive confusion and flatness and needing for answers and comfort and all of that. But what it has revealed for me is where I haven't been honest. Not honest with others, but honest with myself.
Mm. Honesty. Mm.
I want to jump in, Scott.
Hi, Vince.
I've been hearing some of the stuff that's going on, even though I was up there being busy and so on. And I caught what you were saying about you said that subtle form of seeking. You were afraid that it was a subtle form of seeking. And I want to
Yeah.
say to you, so what? So what? There's nothing wrong with seeking. It's stuff happens, whatever happens, and it's not about the stuff that happens. It's about how you respond to it. It's about your relationship to it. Right? So if there's seeking, there's seeking. But that doesn't mean that you're not awake. That doesn't mean that you're back to square one. It just means some form of thought has turned up with stories hanging off it that you believe. And that is that you keep believing that you've got some goal to achieve where seeking isn't there anymore. Well, good luck with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess once I saw that, like, what I was doing by consuming all the information was a dead end, I just came to a conclusion maybe that seeking equals bad. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 This is something I've been going through quite actively just lately, and I realise that I I found myself identifying, selfing quite intensely yesterday and the day before, based on something that I was accused of, or it seemed to be that way, on a Facebook post. Somebody said all this stuff about me, and I responded protectively. I responded with selfing, with identification. Did I think that I was back to square one? Did I feel like seeking had started again in order to fix it? What? So there's a million different versions of seeking. Everybody's going to have their own version of seeking when it comes. Now, whether we call it seeking or not, whether we say if it's seeking, it has bad attached to it. It means that we're not awake, right? And that comes from people saying, well, when I had that initial shift, I felt like I wasn't seeking anymore. Well, that's true, but that doesn't mean that it's a permanent state. So the moment we think there's something to be gained, we're seeking. The moment we think there's somewhere to be that's not here, we're seeking. But if we approach it in a relaxed fashion, then it just becomes something for us to look at. There's no overall meaning that you're not as far along as you thought you were or you hoped you were. That's a pretty ridiculous concept, isn't it?
You know, I hope I didn't give the impression that I thought like I look at this last week as it seems like I never. It seems like shit's breaking down, and I guess I think it's good. It's just a lot of emotions coming up, and there's a lot of uncomfortable sensations. Um, I I
Yeah.
I know I cry a lot, but I think it's just shit that just I'm not sure if I I just think it's shit just coming up.
Well, what if it's just crying a lot? What if it's just feeling intensely? What if we don't describe it and add a story to it about it being anything? What if it just is what it is? It's just a lot of crying, a lot of emotional release. Did it feel like release?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So let's call it that. That's a description. It's not a label. It's not a, there's no moral undertone or undertone with it. It's just what it is. And I'm imagining that it's pretty good. Yeah, there you go. I'm adding a moral overtone to it, but I'm saying, there you go. If it felt like release, that sounds positive to me.
I agree. Like I just there's a part that I see or that seems to see like, yeah, this is I'm gonna say progress, okay, no words, but this is something that's never happened before, and it looks like my defenses are breaking down, and you know, that part of me says this is good.
Yeah, yeah,
There's still feels pretty uncomfortable sometimes, but then 2 seconds later, it can be fine. But
yeah, yeah. And could you say that that uncomfortableness when it is there is also okay? Does that feel right for you? No, I'm not saying it's pleasant, but it's okay that it's uncomfortable.
I've had both. I've had both where I can't imagine continuing to feel it, and then as I've been observing it, it gets a little bit less scary.
Yep.
Stays just as intense, but just a little bit less scary.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So did you catch a story that said this might be here forever?
Yes,
Yeah. Well, obviously that's a bullshit story, isn't it? Nothing is here forever.
it's probably been there, although I didn't feel it for 60 some years.
Yeah.
Part of part of me, I don't even know how to describe this stuff, but part of me is excited about it. It's just working through it is not working through it, allowing it to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, you don't stop watching what you say and making it come out right.
It
It does.
feel
It just.
right, like
Yeah.
and that word allow just kept coming up, and I put it on the bulletin board to the wall, and I walk into the kitchen. This morning, I get up, I walk in to start doing my mindless chores, and I walk in, and that word like allows there, and boom, I started
Yeah.
crying immediately. It was funny.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's you listening to your intuition. I, I think, that's what it feels like to me. Mm,
That's what it feels like.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm crying you know, doesn't mean
No,
I'm
nothing
down.
means anything, does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. God, when I watched the meeting from last week, what an eye opener that was.
I missed that. What did you say after I watched the meeting from
I,
last week?
I usually, yeah, I usually don't watch the meetings. Like I have occasionally gone back and just looked at times when I talked to see what actually happened. But when I, I went back because it felt different a little bit last time, and when I went back and watched how I was just like grabbing on each insight, and then Marius was tried to gently show me that I was grabbing onto stuff, and I didn't see it. But when I went back and looked at it from the outside, it was so obvious. There was like I felt like saying, "Would you just shut the fuck up?" Sorry. Like,
Mm. It's funny how when we watch ourselves, we tend to be judgmental.
you know, the experience was totally different watching it. It's just completely different. Like, and maybe there's some changes probably took place between the meeting and when I watched it, because a lot of stuff happened last week. Lots of stuff, all kind of stuff. Just
Yeah, have this metaphor. It's like you're the caterpillar turning into the butterfly at the moment, and you're in the mush stage.
Bleh. It's all right. So the word allow just seems so much, I don't know, it kind of opened me up a little bit, like acceptance for some reason, I don't know, using that word, but
Yeah.
allow
And it's a great one to meditate on. You know, the ramifications of allow. You know, can you do allowing?
no,
Mm.
it doesn't seem like it.
Is it a product of seeing that there is no choice?
I think so, or it's related somehow. I think it's like when I realized consuming spiritual stuff wasn't working, then I realized distraction wasn't working. Just like it's like a door closed, another door closed, another door closed, and then there you are.
From my perspective, this is, we hear a lot about surrender in the spiritual scene, and it sounds like something to do, but it's actually a conclusion when you've seen through what you need to see through. It's just the end result.
The brain still wants to make a conclusion. It's mild, like the thought comes up, well, I'll just put the bot down for a little while, and unless I need support, like whatever, another conclusion. But it's just, I don't think it's a big deal.
So if you have this idea that allowing is good, and I think it's great. I think it is a really fundamental, amazing thing that can happen. This allowing, this surrender, this acceptance. But what if you wake up to a discovery that, hang on, I'm not doing that. I'm not allowing. I'm pushing the river. I'm trying to do. I'm trying to fix, or whatever. Do you see that as a failure of allowing, or do you see that as just something to recognize, something to be seen, and the fact that you're seeing it is all that it takes for allowing to kick back in again? So you don't do allowing, but if you see that you're not allowing, guess what? Allowing will happen. Or not, but most likely it will.
It feels like relaxation,
Yes.
like dropping my shield.
Yeah. So what's a body feeling? What's a body expression of allowing? It's a big exhalation, dropping the shoulders, relaxing the stomach.
Like every muscle in my body. And then my brain relaxes.
Hmm.
My computer's going crazy here. I hope it doesn't throw me off. If it does, you'll know why.
Yeah, I'm going to need to plug my power supply in too. Yeah. I'm suggesting that what you do right now is take a big breath, sigh it out, drop your shoulders, and feel into your body, and feel if you can kind of associate a physical expression with that allowing that you talked about. Get it out of your head, down into your body. Do that while
Yeah,
I'll go and
like
plug
it's
my
already
power
there.
supply in.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of want to. Something came up when Vince suggested to um, feel into or associate how it feels to allow. I just want to highlight that the potential trap in that, and then that is that it could feel like if you don't feel the way that you now associate allowing, next time a conflict can come up and say, now I'm not allowing.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm
Does-
pointing to?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I kind of don't
Creative
want you to land anywhere. Allowing happens.
Yeah, I don't get the feeling I'm forcing it or anything. I just kind of every once in a while not concept, the thought comes up and oh yeah, allow, yeah, okay. Usually accommodated with a emotional outburst.
I think allowing can feel in infinite ways. You know, you can allow something and feel shitty about it. It's okay.
It's something about it's associated with this feeling of like not holding the world up anymore, or just letting it down. It's just like, okay, I can just put it down again. Like, I guess part of me, I guess maybe it's, yeah, maybe, as I'm observing what's going on inside, maybe there's a little seeking or analyzing happening, and maybe that dropping that maybe, for short period of time or whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever,
again,
it feels
nothing
good.
is, yeah, nothing is right or wrong.
Yeah, there's good. I forgot. Yeah, there's so much good feeling too. Like, hey, I'm gonna cry. I feel good. good, bad, different.
Do you see that good and bad is totally subjective? Like I can label something good that you label bad, and vice versa.
I don't think it really. I think it really exists. I think it's just talking about. And their mind, because I realize as soon as a thought like that comes up, I realize it's absolute bullshit.
What's going on for you, Dennis?
I was just following along with Scott. It was like you were just talking to me, and Scott was giving my answers. So I feel like I've already spoken. Um, just being in attention on the body, really, contracted places, then conflicted with it because I think I seen something last week. I can't remember exactly what it was like, and I could have this completely wrong, but it's like someone else was describing what I've been doing lately, and I think Tyler kind of said like that, that's not that that's not it, but that's not, maybe it's a halfway point or it's another distraction. And I was playing around with the idea of that you could, feel into the body sensations, feelings, forever. So everything is back to, I suppose, in the middle of Scott's talk, the way I was imagining it was you're in this slippery, deep, muddy hole, and every distraction is just you trying to climb out of it. And you can't climb out of it. And it's just a matter of not climbing out. And the bottom of that hole is your shame, your I'm no good, your sadness, no hope. The attention always comes back to the body. These subtle pains and aches and tightness. It's all really located in the or back behind the heart, and just a kind of a locked up feeling. Sometimes in the face. And obviously then listening to Scott's story, which felt sort of like my story, but maybe Scott's a couple of miles down the road from me, further on. Some tears.
Yeah,
So that's where I'm.
yeah. It's not necessarily your story. Can be, but I see how the mind um, would like to have some understanding by comparing stories.
It resonated. Sometimes when people talk, it feels very much their thing, and it doesn't resonate as much, but that resonated.
Mm.
Then I did notice the mind sort of as a container, expecting to speak at some point, and I kind of got a shock. I was like, oh, there it is, sort of being hopeful that, and what would it be like not to speak? And just sit in the bottom of the hole and not speak. It's fine.
So if I say there is nothing more to understand and nothing to attain, what comes up
What
for
a
you?
relief. What a
Great.
relief.
Perfect. It's kind of crazy and mysteriously wonderful how the mind can just create all of these experiences from nothing.
Yeah, it's very entertaining until it's not.
Yeah.
It may be. I think I just had a little thought. It's only a little thought, but I'll share it. Enlightenment must be like, when you're young, you have tea, and then someone gives you sugar, and you put sugar in your tea, and you love it, and you just can't do without it. Then you go off the sugar for a while, and it's a bit difficult. But once you're used to no sugar, sugar in tea is disgusting again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good metaphor. I like that. It honestly feels almost like you're right back where you started.
Yeah, yeah. The journey, the seeking journey, however long ago, was exciting, gathering knowledge, understanding, hope, desire, better future. Uh, and lately, yeah, I've been kind of going, where is it all? Like, what the fuck is going on? What are we talking? Like, where's all that? It's like when you believed in Santi. It was magical.
Yeah.
I won't say it's very lonely. It's an alone place. It's great to come on here and check in and kind of just be told it's okay.
Yeah.
There's definitely more ease in the body now. Instead of the mind's 50 stories it wants to talk about or tell or discuss, it's just more like, let's just see what comes up here now. Mind keeps going, tell them about this, tell them about that.
Is there a story that says that it's wrong to tell them about this or that?
No, I think it's just feels like it could be a movement away from here and this, and just a gentle feeling that's I would maybe describe as sadness.
Mm. Put me in contact with the sadness as well. Thank you.
I do admire Scott's emotionality and ability to cry a lot. It's I was watching somebody during the week, kind of we talked through something, I think it was on an Angelo double barrel, and the sadness was there, the sadness was here, and started to cry. But there was such a sense of locked upness here that the lungs were restricted and was nearly kind of vomiting while trying to cry. It was just something just very violent was trying to release and found it very difficult. Of course, the story is there's so much tightness and contraction and muscles that there's not that freedom.
Were you in a situation where you felt free to cry? Was there anybody around?
No,
Were you in a space?
no, yeah. And the crying is always silent. It's always, it never sounds.
We tried to deliberately make sounds.
No.
Maybe try that.
Mm. I just had a vision of my dad when he laughs. He just laughs silently. Yeah. We laugh silently and we cry silently, just not to disturb anybody.
It was funny and also a little bit sad.
Mm.
I also have difficulty crying, and I grab every chance I get when it comes watching a movie or anything that kind of tugs at the tear ducts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been a thing lately. I've talked about that previously. I find myself crying a lot in movies, but if there's anyone else in the room, there is that immediate don't let them see you crying. It's a reaction
Yeah.
that it's very old. Probably from when I was young, just being told to stop crying. Stop crying. Because they believed crying was bad. Crying was there was something wrong. We don't want anything to be wrong.
Some people feel it's uncomfortable when other people cry. Of course, because they've learned that their own crying is not okay.
Yeah, I'd be the opposite. If people are crying around me, I encourage it.
Mm. We lost Dennis. How are you, Monique?
Um, the word flatness comes up for me. I was listening to one of the recordings a few days ago, and it really resonated with me. And this morning, read something about it. It's been like this for a while. Sort of after a little bit like Scott was saying, it's like being a period of like hyper. Really intense, everything being extremely intense, very much at the surface, a fleur de peau, how do you say that in English? I guess at the surface, where everything was felt, everything was open, everything was very, very intense. And then this feeling of it's almost like it's funny. It's really windy today, so it's even more. In, this feeling of flatness is felt even more. It's like I'm with myself and everything. So now I feel everything. It passes through me, and whether it does, this like something that I might have described as bad or good or intense or not, it all feels very much the same. But it goes through me, and it's like I there's nothing to grab. Like even if someone said, even a friend in distress, and it wasn't, my mind said you should reach out and be there, but there's nothing to grab. It's just happening. And I kind of notice it, and it's a no. And life just keeps happening. It's like I don't control it. I don't, yeah, it's just happening. I can't explain it. It's not mine, but it's me, and it's, I don't know. Yeah, it's like it's like there's nothing driving me, you know. It's like so I do a lot of camping, and last year I remember camping for about 6 weeks, and it was a very big effort to make that happen. And there was a problem the entire time, but I couldn't get my mind to figure it out. This year I thought of camping, and I ended up booking stuff. And 2 months later, I realized, oh, I've been camping for almost 2 months, most of the time, but there was no effort. It's almost like it happened, it's gone. And I'm just, wonder how that all happened. So I don't know, it's like there's no grit to anything, is what it feels like. That's why, and I can't find the word, even flatness sounds like nothing happening, but it's like everything is just happening, just moving through me, just continuously moving through me without grit. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yes, it is now. At first, it felt, it's like it's almost like a feeling of loss or grieving, missing the drama, missing the ups and down, and missing the feeling that I'm making decisions, that I'm controlling. And then it was scary, because this feeling of, holy shit, I'm not in control at all. And now it's it just in the last couple of days, I'm looking back and I realize, oh, I've been doing all these things, or these things, whatever. And it's almost like I just feel like it, I feel like I didn't do it. I just ended up being there. So now it's like, it's beyond the relief. It's just like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Yeah. And I have, just because in BC, British Columbia, camping grounds are booked months in advance. So I booked all of this, the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks maybe. But there's not that sense of it has to happen. I don't even know if it will. I just booked it. And then and then maybe I'll be there. I don't know. Feels like it, but I'm ready for it. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't even know how to say this. It's just like, it's like, I don't even feel anymore like I lost control. I just know I don't have that control, and I don't have to. And the relief is in that the burden of that sense of control is melting away. Yeah, and most especially in the last week, I ended up actually having an interesting injury to my right dominant shoulder, and it was very, very intense. The pain was excruciating for 3 days, and it was an acute reaction. And I went to see physio, and I was reacting to the pain. And then the physio said something that stayed with me. He said, "You can relax." Or I heard, "You can relax." He doesn't know what he said, but he said something about relax. And I heard that so clearly that I literally relaxed, and the pain subsided from like 10 out of 10 pain to just diffused. And I thought of this in the last couple of days, and I think the shoulder was a very symbolic or representative of that, trying to still hold it and keep it together. And when I heard that relax, it was just well, it was a gift to hear that it was okay. I just relax, you know. So yeah.
That's beautiful. Sounds like you're in a good phase.
Yeah, it feels relaxed. I'm almost happy that I had that injury, because I didn't realize, I couldn't see what was happening the last couple of months. I was just like coasting, right? Thinking, yeah, you know, the word flat sounds like something's missing, but I don't know. Yeah, whatever this is, whatever this is, it's a relief, you know, from thinking that I make things happen. And honestly, I've been saying to everyone, I'm just like, I don't have any drive. I'm almost felt like I'm tired, but I wasn't tired. I just didn't have any drive. I was a bit worried about that. You know, I'm not getting younger. I thought, whoa, if I have less drive now. But when I even think of drive, I'm exhausted actually when I think of that. Like, whew. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah. It's a lot of effort. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's a strange feeling not to have something to grab onto. I have to not
Yeah.
I have to not think about it. If I think about it, just like I say that, and I can feel my voice is going up. Grab onto. Ooh, that's exhausting. Definitely don't have energy for that. Yeah.
Story comes up here and it sounds like you're more in tune with the body.
Yes, definitely. I can feel like I'm in my body. Yeah. It's, my shoulders have dropped. It's always been like, for me, the throat and the whole upper, the way I felt was like this, holding on to, I don't know what it's like this, this protection. It was this, I have no idea what I was trying to protect, but the shoulder was this protection, trying to keep it together. And yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that as well. I mean, I, I, I actually have shoulder issues because I've lived like
Yeah.
this for so long. So my story about it is just a constant bracing.
Yes, that's exactly how it felt. And you know, I couldn't really see it. It was just embodied.
Yeah.
It's so primal. It was so primal. It almost feels like I needed to have an injury to my shoulder, which sounds a bit reckless, but it was so very, very strange. I was camping and I kept doing this thing that aggravated my shoulder. You know those big garbage, bear-proof garbage bins? When you're camping, you have to put your hand in and then you have to lift it. Very, very heavy. And it's like I kept doing that again and again and again. And my shoulder was hurting. And it's almost like I kept going in there until I couldn't move my shoulder. When I think of it now, it was insane. It's like there's something in me. It's just like, keep doing it. I couldn't stop myself. I had to be able to do it. Could have been anything, but I had to keep being able to do it. Yeah. That's sad, actually, to push yourself like that. For me to do that, to push myself like that, it's sad. Yeah.
It is kind of sad how we totally always put the body last, many of us at least.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, I had to see it. And sometimes you just have to push yourself to it seems like this human aspect that pushes to the limit for me to see the harm that I was doing to myself, the lack of compassion, the lack of consideration for myself. Even though, you know, if this injury hadn't subsided, it's possible that I would not have been able to do the thing that I like the most, even with that at risk. So it was a big one. It's a big one.
It's almost like life forced you to become more aware of your body.
Mm. Yes, absolutely. Definitely screamed at me to be in my body. Respect. I was going to say respect my limits, but just respect myself.
Yeah.
About myself. It's really easy to talk about doership, but it comes out so quickly. It's so ahead of, it's always ahead of me, and all the while things are happening anyways. Yeah.
It's a useful concept, but nothing to hold on to, I think.
No, it's a bit confusing actually if I think of it in my head, to even think that I should stop controlling anything. I think it's just showing, my body's actually showing me this. Yeah. So
Thanks for sharing, Monique.
thank you.
How are you, Bianca?
I heard what you said, but it feels like coming to the beginning, like making a circle. And yeah, I do feel like that. There was a bit of envy for you, Scott. But you have this big experience. That's and because for me it's like, have I really made a journey? Oh, I just stopped too early.
Yeah.
There is doubt, yes.
Yeah, I've had the same doubts.
Yeah, and what you said about mind grasping onto this, oh, so there is nothing. Yeah, I do relate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. this last round, so to speak, I feel like this is cyclic in a way, but this last round, I kind of, the insight that stood out to me was what this time in emptiness showed me was that it's neither the emptiness or the fullness, and how the mind wants to land in one of those just because it just wants some place to land, but it's all of it. It's nowhere to land. It's always changing, and it is flat, it is full, different, like it. So, yeah. And so I'm not saying that there is a choice in this, but it's kind of like when you see that you've been attached to the flatness or the emptiness, then it let goes of that. That happened here at least. And then there was more confusion. And it was the uncomfortableness of the confusion, where I saw that the mind, what the mind was doing. The mind was confused because it wanted somewhere to land, and now I saw that there is nowhere to land. Sometimes it's flat, sometimes it's full. Sometimes it's in between. And even landing in what I just said is also a landing. So just chuck it out the window and don't land anywhere.
I
And here
appreciate the
comes it.
Len
Yeah.
anywhere comment. Thank you. I was listening to you and I was thinking, yeah. And I thought, oh no, just erase all that. It's amazing. The mind just wants to grab onto something.
Yeah, and I was just about to say that, and here comes more mind loop, which is also fine, is that, and if it does land anywhere, that's also fine.
Mm. Yeah. We're not making anything happen. It's what you're saying is just happening as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's just it's the tendencies to want to fill up the tank. It's empty, and then when it's full, you want to empty it, and it's never ending. You get caught up in that loop.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Yeah.
And it's freeing in a way that that's all okay.
Yes. It's something that's being repeated by both you and Vince always. Whatever you share, it really is just everything's just okay. We just have to not invest in it, in our minds thinking it's good or bad. That's tricky.
Yeah. But if you do invest in it, it's okay too.
Yeah. Oh.
Thank you for a lovely meeting, guys.
Thank you, Marius. Vince, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.